Welcome back to Port Elizabeth, the beautiful city. This is part 45, and we start with a sort of entrance gate to the Walmer Town Hall, which kind of sits out in the middle of nowhere, about 50 meters from the town hall. There's no fencing. It's one of these absurd things, but it's a beautiful thing, and there are two of these. But I'd like to just take us back because we're going to look at a bit of Walmer. Unfortunately, I didn't get to explore it thoroughly, and I don't really know where to find the gems of early Walmer. But it says here that back in 1815, the 14 square mile farm Welbedacht was granted to A.M. Muller by the Cape government. When he died in 45, his farm was inherited by his 8 sons, who sold it and divided the money among them. In 1855, the area was transferred to the municipality of Port Elizabeth and renamed Walmer in honor of the Duke of Wellington. Walmer Castle is an artillery fort originally constructed by Henry VIII in Walmer, Kent, between 1539 and 40. Formed part of the King's device program to protect against invasion from France and the Holy Roman Empire. Anyway, Wellington used the castle till his death in 1852. Walmer in PE was laid out and on 8th of March 1855, it was resolved to sell 400 plots by public auction. By June, 200 had been sold. In 1899, it was awarded separate municipal status, which is why it has its own, or had its own, town hall. So it's interesting that it was started by the PE municipality, then sort of got self-government for a while. 1899, and rejoined Port Elizabeth in 1966. Yeah. And of course, the Walmer Township then developed around Walmer. And, that is where people flocked from the rural areas to get work in Port Elizabeth, and particularly in Walmer itself, I guess. They call that, the local Xhosa people call the township Gqeberha. Ironically, now that they've decided to give that name to Port Elizabeth, then the township has regained the name of Walmer Township. It makes no sense at all. So there's that entrance. And you can see it's on the corner of Main Road and 8th Avenue, Walmer. Festina lente is a classical adage and oxymoron meaning make haste slowly, sometimes rendered in English as more haste, less speed. So that's what's written up there. It's this Festina lente. It's probably Latin or something. Not sure what's on here. Looks like a palm tree. So I obviously started at the town hall because it's the most conspicuous sort of historical building. This is Walmer Main Road, and there's a memorial coming up, a war memorial on the right. So for both world wars, Walmer was a separate town, really, and they established their own cenotaph here. So the springbuck, as we'll see in the next ring, was the insignia of the South African Armed Forces during both world wars. The inscription reads, "This memorial was unveiled by His Excellency the Earl of Athlone, Governor General of the Union of South Africa in 1925. Note the name Herbert Hurd, bottom left. He was the word mayor is under his name. He was the mayor of Walmer at the time. And he later donated land to a school in Newton Park called Herbert Hurd, which my sons attended. So the springbuck is associated with South Africa's contribution to fighting in 2 world wars. And this is in memory of those who died in the Great War. 13 names are listed of Walmer people. And so there was a trough here. Used to be used by dogs or visitors to the nearby library. So we'll see the library shortly. But this all looks quite pristine and everything. No litter. It's a rare thing to see, actually. And this plaque commemorates Walmerites who died in World War II. The bottom 5 names are those apparently of people of color. But at least they're on the same plaque. So before 1948, when apartheid arrived, at least there was some semblance of unity. So there's this fountain which doesn't seem to be working or wasn't working, and I think when I went back here they were demolishing it, which is sad. And that's the town hall. Again, because of the big trees in the foreground, it loses its impact as a, I'm not against trees, but architecturally it would be lovely to have seen this complete. So here you just get a sample of it. This gets a bit lost, this gable in the background. Municipality of Walmer, stone laid in 1908 by Ramsey Denny, mayor. And that's the view from the town hall looking back. And that's the library. And this thing I've subsequently seen has been removed. I don't know to where, but this used to be part of the Prince of Wales obelisk, which we mentioned earlier. It was erected in 1863 in the Market Square, the obelisk, and this was the horse trough. There would have been 4 of these, I think, around the base of the obelisk that Patterson had brought out from the UK for his late colleague Kemp, for his grave in the St. George's Park Cemetery. But his parents didn't want it there, so it went to the Market Square, and this thing somehow landed up here for a while. So there's a bit of a view of the town hall. And there's a place where you can donate books if you ever have any. It's for charity, so it's worth doing. This looks like an old hitching post. So the road into the town hall and the library with the yellowwood trees next to it. So this is the second of these gate setups. Hard to imagine what it was like in the day when people used to have to go through these gates and then there's a little children's learn to drive thing where you can, and I remember this as a child, not that we went here, but I remember seeing it. It's got its own little traffic lights and everything. I think we've rejoined it just now, just having a look at the Walmer library. And So this was the Walmer police station where Steve Biko was held before he was murdered in 1977. I think he might even have been tortured there. I know, I can't remember. Anyway, here's this little track for kids to learn the rules of the road. Look, it's even got little robots. I don't know if they still work, but we call them robots, but others call them traffic lights. And I found this quite a telling picture. So you got the little white kids with their cycling helmets and everything, and then you've got these three black kids who've obviously come from Walmer Township, and they've commandeered a cart, sort of a trolley from some supermarket. And so it says they're TLC councillor. So that dates back to before the transition in 94, we had these transitional local councils. That's what it was called, combined the ANC with the existing council. Bit of history. So here's that little network of roads for kids. And the old notorious police station. And looking up Walmer Main Road, there's been lots of development here, of course. Oh, the traffic lights were working and they were red. And then green. So I think I walked back to the car at this point. Not sure where these things come from. I think there would have been a chain attached to them. They look sort of like shells. Oh yes, and then past the bowling green just now. So this is from the back of the gate. And then there are gaps in the wall, so I could take a few shots of the bowling green. And here you get a side view of the town hall. And that's the post office coming up. And the clubhouse. The clubhouse. And yeah, now this church, eh? So this is St. John's Parish Memorial Hall, built after World War I. In memory of those who died. Was opened in 1928 by the Reverend Patterson. So nice. I think I've got quite a few pictures of this. So this is St. John the Baptist, Anglican Church, St. John's in Church Road. But that's the parish hall. And this is sort of Art Nouveau, even though it's 1928. The newer part of the church. The original church was built from 1881. Many alterations and upgrades. The old church was finally demolished in the present building in 1956, consecrated in 1968 during the ministry of Canon Ron Taylor. But there is a part of this that is from the original church. I think we get to it shortly. The current parish centre was the original rectory, built in 1893, and the lynch gate, it's this thing here, in 1912 in honour of Richard Smith. So you can see the old part of the building is here. It's 1893. It's good to know a bit of it survived. And that's a creek just below the church. And across a hidden mansion across the road. And here, Onion Row, famous complex designed by John Rushmere, the architect who designed the Duck Pond Pavilion. So you can't see much of it, but it's evidently quite an interesting architectural feat. So this is the corner of 10th Avenue and Prospect Road. So we're going to look at where the Walmer Gardens Hotel used to be. But first, across the road is this, I just spotted it by chance, rather nice sort of mock Tudor, but also obviously I'd say in the late 19th century. Okay, so we're going to have a look at where the Walmer Gardens Hotel was, but first a glance over the wall of that place. And this is the Walmer Gardens now. So this was a beautiful venue. I attended so many jazz concerts on a Sunday night in the 80s, late 80s. Now it's painted a tarmac grey, and it was the Damlin College at this point. But what an unfortunate choice of colour. I mean, it's like the road almost consumes it. It just grows up into it. The same colour grey as the road. It's absurd. And this is a really historic old building. It's just, what a shame. You know, there was so much going for this place. There's a hotel. And I just walked down to Main Street. There's some more Tudor style. The Walmer Gardens. And looking over that wall at this mansion here. So we're going to stop at this point as we headed down to Fordyce Road, and we'll continue our exploration of Walmer shortly.